All right, good morning, or afternoon, or evening. Good to have you guys here. And of course, Justin is here for our third day. Sadly, our final day. So halfway through this, we get really choked up and just like we have the feels.
Yeah, this is it. This is really. Although I feel like we never got to do what I really wanted to do, which is like, and I should have told you, like, whenever the camera comes on, we all turn around at the same time, and it's kind of like a lawyer commercial where they're like always reading in like a study, and it's like, oh, I didn't see it here, and then they continue the commercial. Hey. That should have been it.
we could do that.
It's too late now.
I love your ideas, man, and it's fun having you here, and I think you're super talented as an illustrator, and obviously you can see some of his work behind us, and also Justin Mezzell on all the social medias. So good to have you guys here, Daniel, Chuck, Laura, back again, Lisa. Yesterday was a fun day. First day we had, we basically did, emojis. Like icons, right?
Some amazing ones.
Second day yesterday, avatars, which was super fun. So plenty of those out there, which has been really cool. So thank you for everybody who's been hanging out with us. We do see some familiar names in here. Kevin, and again, Laura. Let us know if it's your first time here. Always want to see if it's your first time joining us today. And also where you're from. I like hearing that too.
And you should talk in chat. Even if you're like the kind of individual who doesn't always make yourself known today.
Yeah.
Make today the day.
This is your
You say
day.
hey to community.
You put yourself on the map, if you will, as I make that fancy transition. So you let us know where you're from, and we can talk about the contest today.
Yeah.
Because again, yesterday was Avatar. Today is a little bit different, which is going to be really fun. Let me just go ahead and show you, because if you click on that contest tab, it's a little bit different today, but super fun. So chat, click on contest. We're going to do a map challenge. So Sarah Bell's been joining us from like the last 2 hours, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. And she does a lot of this cartography. So essentially, download this map template file. Make it your own. You can do whatever you want with it. Again, keep it PC, politically correct or whatever, but just have some fun with it. You can make up content. You could put yourself on the map if you want to, your city that you're in or whatever the case may be. And then just upload it and submit it through that URL. I'll show you what that map looks like real fast. Oop, here we are. Oh, look at this. It might ask you for a font. Don't worry too much about that, but everything is in layers, essentially. And I've turned on everything, but I could also turn off a lot of this content. And check this out. Where's one of your favorite places? Where would you want to go next? You can go anywhere in the world.
Wow. I've never been to Japan, but I really would love to go to Japan.
Japan it is.
Am I testing now your geography if you know where
like,
it actually is?
Japan?
You're like, yeah. There we are.
So there we are. So, I mean, have some fun with this. So Daniel, Helen, yes. And essentially, you could sort of remap the colors. You can add your own icons, do whatever you want with it. You could take a segment of the map, too. And keep in mind, you could always turn off these labels. But again, just have some fun. Be like, hey, you know what? I live right here. Let's round those rectangles. Zoop. Not all of them. Let's take the one corner, for instance. Hold on. Zoop. Wait for it. I just want to grab one corner, and I should be able to hold down the Alt key. Whoa. I lied. Did you ever do that? Just like,
oh yeah,
isn't it Option or your Alt key? Nonetheless, I'm just kind of adding to the map.
No matter how many times I do it, I still I'm like if you were to ask me specifically what the exact keys are, I know the positioning of my hands, but that's about all I know. I can't verbalize them.
Yeah, and I saw you do this yesterday too, by the way. So I can select these 2 points on this corner and then do that. So essentially, what I'm doing is making a little, a point on the map saying, "Hey, I'm here." And there's my little avatar, or whatever the case may be. Just have some fun with it.
This is a really different challenge today. I like it. I love it.
Yeah, so it is compulsory to use the map. You don't have to use the whole thing, but essentially, yeah, use the map. Obviously, it could be a segment of it, whatever the case may be. But have some fun. It could be Narnia. It could be anything, really, right?
Nice.
Did you know Narnia's in Japan somewhere?
No, yeah, very specifically.
It's like Minneapolis. Where's Minneapolis, Chase? Where is that? Where are you on the map?
You know, I actually don't know any geography. I know like 3 states on the U.S. map, and that's really about it.
No, really?
Yeah, it's honestly, I don't blame myself. I blame the public school system of Florida. Like I don't feel like I hold the blame on this one, but yeah, I don't know. It like the first time I flew to Chicago, I was like, oh, this is really cool. The ocean's beautiful from here, and I found out it's not the ocean in Chicago. It's just a very
You're
big
hilarious.
lake. I wish that was funnier, but it's definitely a little. It hints of sadness too.
Minnesota. So super cool. Florida's in the house. Good to see. So yeah, man, that's the plan today. That's the contest. Have some fun with it. You can obviously play with this all day long. Florida's down there.
Thank you, Helen. I didn't know either.
Yeah. Ocean, Michigan. No, Lake Michigan, actually.
Is that the lake that's near Chicago, Lake Michigan? Is that really what it is?
If it's not on this map, we're not going to know.
Well, don't ask me to do a map.
We're like, it's over that way somewhere behind us.
This is why I stick to fictitious things. Like a map of Hyrule, done. A map of the United States, no. Not happening.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, so have some fun with it, guys. Feel free, download it, have some fun. We will give away Creative Cloud to a lucky winner in about an hour and a half. Then we'll have a random giveaway in about 45 minutes or so. And essentially, we're going to switch over to your screen because you've been doing some fantastic things lately.
Aw, that's so kind.
Look at that. You could put that on the map.
Yeah, that's true. Again, I have to make fictitious places because then I'm not too worried about it. That's kind of like when I draw like people, I want to do like a weird world because like I don't know the proportions, so I have to make some weird world with weird laws where I don't need to make it look perfect. And that's what's cool about illustration is like you figure out what your style is and like what you want to do with the world, and then you bend the world to the rules that you've created in it, and that's why illustration is so awesome and why I really dig it. This is what we did the first day, if you'll remember. This is we built like a little city, and just to reiterate again, you know, we're building using very basic shapes, using squares and ellipses and 45-degree angles for the most part. We do break that occasionally, and we are sticking to the grid. If you remember, we've got just a whole bunch of simple geometry. And if you can make a rectangle in Illustrator, you can make this work. It just takes some time to kind of get comfortable with it. And then if you're like me, you just kind of get used to the hotkeys and use your shortcuts for everything.
Yeah, you are definitely keyboard.
You know what it is? I feel like I want to be, I like design, but it also sounds really cool to like hack the mainframe like in an 80s movie. And so when I'm like working in my workflow and I'm like quickly tapping everything, it just kind of feels like I'm hacking.
I like
I like it.
Lorenzo really says the city is looking awesome.
Thank you.
Wow. And by the way, this is on demand or basically recorded if you want to call it that. Available on youtube.com/Creative Cloud. You will find recordings for the past 2 days.
Yeah, you can
so
watch it again.
Scrub through that and watch this city being built.
Feel free. And so yesterday, if you'll remember, we decided, okay, so we built the city. In the city, we used a whole lot of colors. We used gradients. Like we weren't very restricted. So for this next one, we decided that we would start building this space illustration. And we're doing very similar things. These are objects that are built on the grid. We're using generally pretty simple geometry in these kind of builds. But what we're doing now is we're playing a little bit more with how composition works in this. So we're making specific decisions on how is this going to lay out? How does it layer? Like instead of doing like a city where there's just like one horizon line, now we're getting into abstractions when it comes to where things are placed, what's the dimension that it's done. And so that's kind of why we're doing this one. I think today it would be really fun to continue building this, start working our way up the illustration. We've kind of got like a very low hanging illustration. So like, let's keep building up into the abstract version of the sky, build some new elements. And so you can help if you would like to see something that's kind of space related. Totally feel free to shout out some ideas. I tried not to like just come up with ideas last night while laying in bed because I think it's more fun to kind of like struggle with it and try to figure out, I don't know what to do next, because if I was working on this illustration and let's say it was for an editorial piece of space flight or whatever it was, I would just kind of have to come up with stuff. And usually that means just looking around and trying to figure out how to do stuff.
Yeah, I think that's fun, man. And this turned out fantastic, by the way.
Thank you.
And it's interesting to see you transition. First day was all about gradients, these gorgeous gradients, all basic shapes literally, I've never seen anybody do so many awesome things with just a simple rectangle. Kind of makes me sick. But and then shift gears, and you're using 3 colors here. By the way, yeah, you do have to use the map in somewhere in your entry, Dan. Just so you know. Somebody also mentioned recolor artwork, so we'll do that today because that'll be fun. You'll check.
I get to learn it too. It's not something I actively use, so this will be fun.
I actually just did it here. I don't know if I should just show it.
Should I not watch yet, or should I watch?
You can watch it. Let's do this. There's no time like the present.
All right, let's see it. Let's see it.
So all I did is I turned off, by the way, everything's broken down into layers. I've turned off all these various labels and dots and various things. So I'm going to select this map, and really I can then edit everything that's selected, all of these colors, because this is pretty washed out, and that's kind of the problem I have with it. It's too washed out. Go down to edit colors, and then I could recolor this artwork. Okay, so it's gonna give me all of those colors right here. Okay, so this is pretty cool. I can start to remap each one of these colors if I want to. I typically will jump to edit active colors, and this gives me everything on the color wheel here. And then I can change it from there, but I can actually drop this down and make it darker. So this is the brightness scale right over here for this part. Actually, sorry, take that back. This is the saturation, this is the brightness, but I need to take this down essentially. Take down this brightness, and that's much better. I can actually see these colors, and I could start to move these around and manipulate them accordingly, right? And some of these are actually linked. So if I lock these colors together, so I click this lock button, I can shift everything. See, notice how I can make everything darker, make everything brighter, and you know, make it a super green planet at this point. But you kind of get the idea.
That is wild.
So,
I have never done that, but that is
really cool. There are other colors. You can say, hey, you know, go ahead and assign those colors to something crazy. So this is where it's going to get really crazy as I just do this drop down and start selecting. So this is kind of fun. Maybe not so much for this real world experience because it starts to look like an alien planet, but I think for something
which is positive for us.
Yeah,
we're into that.
This is great for like logos, or if you're just like kind of picking colors and want just some inspiration for some randomness, is just by dropping in here, like boom, that high contrast works out great.
It's too rad.
So yeah, thank you whoever recommended that. Great way to work. And again, these are all linked together, and I can adjust accordingly. It's kind of like endless possibilities. If you don't like it, you can hit cancel. You're good to go.
Yeah, somebody did ask about how we all do color, and I think it's so different depending on who you are. For me, I do color by just kind of like ballparking it generally when I start building. So like for this, I knew we were gonna do a 4-color illustration. So I knew I want like the brightest color, which for me was going to be white because we're using kind of like a negative space build. And then I wanted 3 color variations. And the reason why is we're simulating kind of a screen print in some ways where you've got 2 colors. And if those 2 colors were to be overlaid over one another with the inks, you'd have a 3rd color that's created that's kind of like the darker variant. So we just kind of ballparked a pink that didn't make our eyes hurt, ballparked a purple that didn't make our eyes hurt, which is like our 3rd darkest color. And then we made like the darkest color, which is kind of this like blue purple. Blurple kind of color. Blurple. And that's kind of how we built ours. I do recoloring afterwards personally, although now that I know about that tool, that might change my workflow and actually enable me to do some more color selecting in Illustrator specifically, because yeah, that's really awesome.
Yeah, it is kind of fun. And again, we also talked about like, you know, making a swatch and making it a global color. So that's one way to take that one color and tweak it across the board for everywhere it's being used. But I just think it's super impressive how you just took 3 colors. Well, really 4 if you count the white.
Sure.
And, you know, I don't know, man.
Well, thanks.
I'm going to shut up because I just think it's really cool, and I'll just start going on and on about it.
And the reason why we did do this is I'm a big believer in constraints when you're illustrating, and this is just for myself, but like I really love the idea of like creating some sort of restraints around what you're building, because I think that really does force you to come up with solutions that you wouldn't typically think of. So if you bound yourself very specifically to say, I can only work with squares and circles, and it needs to communicate an idea of something. So I would encourage you, when I was starting illustrating, I would do that. Like it would be like, I want to illustrate a, you know, retro camera. And the reason why is it's a little intricate, it's got a bunch of little details, but I can only use, you know, 16 grid spaces and only very specific shapes. That's when you start to come up with solutions that you wouldn't have thought of. So I think it's just a matter of practice and kind of getting used to it and getting used to what abstractions look like as you kind of build. So I'd encourage you to do it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Kevin Worth wants you to create a space station.
Oh, okay. Okay. Let's do a space station.
I guess we're
I totally
guess
agree
we're
with
taking
that.
suggestions.
Yeah, no, I do want suggestions. At this stage, I love space, but I don't know enough to know what everything is. So we're gonna go over here. We left off on space helmet. We can start looking for space station. That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, and Anthony, I think that's our goal, is to eventually bring this into Photoshop. If we can do some final coloring toward the end, that would be.
We might do some recolor artwork too.
Yes, imagine that.
All right, so what we're looking for right now is a space station with some interesting elements to it, some really cool shapes. We are doing things mostly with a flat-on perspective, so we can do things, you know, that do have like something that kind of orbits it like this. It might change a little bit of the visual, and right now our world is largely kind of head-on and flat. So we might not do that. We could, but it might break some of the values that we kind of set up in our world that we kind of operate on. So usually at this stage, I'm like just kind of looking for things that look exceptionally interesting. Let's see. Wow,
any fun space stations you guys like that are in various movies? I'm thinking, what was the movie with Matt Damon, directed by the same guy who did District 9, Neil Blomkamp?
Oh, Elysium.
Elysium.
Yeah,
Is that what I'm thinking
that.
of? Yeah, remember how it was like big, circular?
Yeah, Elysium.
Who I like.
Which one? Which one?
No, I just think that's hilarious.
Oh yeah. Well, we could why don't we just do that? I mean, we don't have to stick to very specifically like what's it called? We don't have to stick to things that are just traditional space. So feel free, if we want to go a little more sci-fi with some of this, we definitely can. Maybe we'll do like a space robot or something. That would be pretty rad. So I'm gonna grab this one right here because I think I like some of the mechanics that kind of work here. There's like some interesting divots. There's also like the solar panels, which I think will be fun to sort of illustrate. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab that. We just copied the image, and you know, I'm showing you how to do something in general. Copy an image right there. You just paste it right in there, and now we've got it in Illustrator. And now we can kind of take it, throw it wherever we want. I'm gonna size it down. Put it over here. All right, so now we've got this. And so when I would do this, I would just start thinking, I'm sticking to the grid. We're sticking to specific grid points. And if you need a refresher on that, we're gonna go to Preferences. We're going to Guides and Grids. And these are the two boxes really that I think are really helpful right now. Grid line every 80. We've got 10 subdivisions, which means that every one of our little grid squares is gonna be 8 points across, 8 points down. And that's just gonna help us because it's a really scalable number that we can kind of work with as we build. So this right here on a head-on perspective, it's really just a rectangle. So that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna grab a color from here. Could be any color. I'm not really sure how it's gonna work yet. We're just gonna go ahead. We're gonna throw down a rectangle. Try to get proportions close-ish, but I'm not really too worried about it being perfect. I'll size it down a bit. I don't want it to be too big in this area. So we know that we got this piece here, and then we got this one. Let's size it down a little bit more. Grab this, move it over. And then just kind of pull that in a bit.
Mitch, you're excuse me, actually illustrating the NEA Scout satellite at work. I don't know what that is, but
I don't either.
Fascinating.
Are we privy to know what that is, or is that very specific information?
Very cool.
All right, we got this little kind of like cap on the end of it over here that we're gonna do. And I can't really see what's over there, which to me is okay. So like when I'm building, I really don't mind making up things. Like if they don't exist, I need a little more detail. I need something a little bit more interesting. I'll totally just make up pieces and just say, yes, there's like a little divot in this part right here. And I'm just gonna make it up and illustrate it. So we've got right here, we know that like where our solar panels are gonna come out. We can flatten it out if we want. We definitely want like some sort of area that kind of kicks out from there. So we know we have like this piece in the middle, which is right here. I'm gonna draw that right here. So here's like our middle piece as it's sort of set up there. And then we've got like a little indentation right here. So go ahead, make this purple or something. And because it's a cylinder, what I want to do is I want to kind of create like a little bit of fake depth right there. A little bit of lighting. So the light is coming from above. There's a little shadow on that side of the cylinder. And we'll just move that over here. All right. So we've got these pieces right here. It's kind of coming together, a little bit of implied dimension right there. We've got some cool stroke work over here that we can do, just some simple lines. We don't know exactly, or I don't know exactly how it's gonna look, but I'm not too interested in being perfect with it. So I'm just gonna start drawing some little elements over here. As you can see, we're kind of building out some of those. There's also a little line over here, a couple of those. Let's draw that there. And if there's something that we're doing that you don't know and you'd like to know what I pressed or a little further explanation, absolutely feel free. We are here for the express purpose of teaching and just kind of learning with you folks. So absolutely feel free to ask questions. We'd be more than happy to help answer some of that.
Yeah, and you can see the keyboard shortcuts pop up in the lower left.
Ooh, that is true. I did do that. And we'll go ahead and make a little divot here.
Yeah, I mean, Lisa's wondering if it's more important to be sort of consistent in your style or experiment.
That's an interesting question. I'd say it's I know that this is like almost too not helpful, but I do feel like it's really personal. For me, I feel like there are things that I really love working in. There's styles that I find particularly interesting to sort of like play around in. But I also know that too much time working in a very specific thing, or if I'm doing the same project over and over again, it gets a little like tedious to me. So I kind of like having kind of like a little bit of an arsenal of like different styles that I like working in. And I can kind of just change as the job fits personally. What about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's like a combo. I think whatever interests you, like sometimes you'll be into like, maybe it is like certain colors, or you might get interested in sort of like space and futuristic stuff. I will say that when it comes to like a portfolio or say posting things to Instagram, I'm just thinking of Marley, for instance, is going to be with us later. And a big shout out to everybody who's joining us. So Julie is going to be up next at 11. Marley's coming in at 1. Sarah Bell, 3 to 5 p.m. But Marley has a consistent portfolio. So it's nice looking at her Instagram and seeing that. So I guess if I'm going to experiment, I don't know if I want to put it in my portfolio, which I don't know. What do you think of Instagram? Do you think that's like...
I think Instagram is it's a super active community of like I feel like there are a lot of people that really like to consume art there. So if you're looking for like and it's pretty lightweight in general, you know, you just have to put work up there, and I think that like it's pretty active. I've really enjoyed that, and I find it generally pretty encouraging community as well.
Yeah, I think so too. So yeah, people are saying Mitch says you make it look way too easy. He's the one working on the NEA Scout. But Simone,
that's very kind.
How do you plan the lights and shadows? You're just kind of using that.
Yeah, so we did kind of set up a universal light in our head, which was like we're casting light right now from this like northeast quadrant up here. When we're doing certain things, and the reason why we're doing it from the northeast is because typically, like if we just have like a flat light that just kind of runs vertical, it's not quite as interesting as a 45-degree angle. Like a good way to think of it is like, so, you know, flat lines are like I guess the most soft. They're not like visually too crazy. Vertical lines add a little more like dynamic dimension, and like horizontal or diagonal lines are like the most punchy lines that you can have. So it's like, think of like Blade Runner, and think of like, you know, the Tyrell Corporation building. Like it's this like pyramid across this big cityscape. Like it's very visually distinct. So when I'm doing this, I'm trying to cast like 45-degree light because I think it casts some really interesting shadows. It doesn't mean that everything is like perfectly along those lines. Like, yes, we're casting light from up here, but if you can tell, like our lighting still does run a little like, you know, to the top area. For this, I just have in mind that eventually I'm going to turn this piece right here. I'm gonna do this with it at some point. And so I'm just grabbing the light from that area. And that's sort of how I'm working with it right now.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because you're kind of working with it horizontally. And you gotta think about what's its final sort of resting place, and how's the light gonna hit it there.
And the reason why we are doing it horizontally is because we're sticking to the grid points right now. If you'll remember, we are view and we are snap to grid. And when we're doing that, we really do want to make sure that like I'm hitting all of these grid points. So if I were to make it in 45-degree angle, you could. It's definitely a little more work to draw horizontally like that. You can, but I'm much faster if I'm sticking to the grid points like this. And now I'm just kind of adding some like detailing in here. I don't know if this little piece exists right here, but it does on my space station. You know, it's like you don't have to make everything like a literal translation. Feel free to sort of experiment and add some visual interest in some places, because honestly, like that's where you start kind of making a piece of your own.
Sarah was wondering why you turn the grid on and off.
Ooh, yeah. So I only do it because it's not a very like heavy thing, but for me, it just kind of helps me visualize. Like I keep that key command all the time, where it's a command apostrophe, and I'm just kind of toggling on and off just because like I just want to see how it's looking without anything in the way. If it was just a simple white background, doesn't mean you have to. It's just kind of like what you get comfortable with. And I think like my workflow, I just zoom in and zoom out a lot, toggle the grid on and off a lot, and I probably do it without even thinking, to be honest.
Yeah. And so yeah, you can hardly tell through the video stream. I don't know if you could tell if if the grid is on or off. It's pretty light.
It is,
but you can definitely see it on your screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're not using the pencil tool. You literally. What are the 3 tools you're using? So basically, use.
Oh yeah.
Ellipse, rectangle, line.
Yeah. Right now, yeah, that's really it. We've done a couple little distortions if we need to do some stuff, but yeah, right now we're keeping it real simple, and that's yeah.
Cameron's wondering how you made the rounded corners so easily.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So this is live corners. When you click an object, especially like so, if you have this direct selection, which is A, and you were to click on a shape right here, you can tell that you got these little circles that are on these edges right here. Now you can individually click a circle like this. And you can start pulling down, and now you're dynamically changing that border radius. Or if you just have this selected, you can also use, if you want to go by number specifically, you can go up to this panel up here where you've got your corners and start inputting numbers as well. So I want 4 right here. And you know what? I didn't think about doing it, and now that I've done it, I like it. And so that's actually what we're doing now. So yeah, it's super, super helpful. Hello.
So interesting.
Oh, the new properties panel. I haven't specifically used it yet, only because I knew that I was doing this stream, and it's like learning a new tool at the same time trying to draw. It was like, oh man, that seems like a lot to do. I'm definitely planning on checking it out, especially because it seems a little more contextual, which sounds really nice. You don't have like everything up on the screen at once, and you kind of like select it as you go. That sounds really nice.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you don't use, there's 2 panels I see up on your screen right now anyway. So you don't use shortcuts more than panels and anything. I do. So.
Someone asked, how did I drop a color directly to the stroke rather than having it do the fill? That's a great question. So what I do is I've got this object, let's say, and I really like this color right here, but it is a stroke, but I want it to apply to a fill. I need to make sure that like this is the layer that I have selected, which is the fill one. And then I'm hovering over it and I'm holding down the shift button. And you see that we're getting that. And what that basically means is like grab the color value, but you don't necessarily need to ascribe it to the attribute of stroke and or fill. It's going to apply it to whatever one is highlighted for you.
That's good stuff. Shift key. I didn't know that, and I end up going through that extra step of flipping it from stroke to fill.
It's helpful. It's super helpful.
So Nathan, you'll round all the corners at once by default. And if you wanted to round one corner, what you do is you're actually selecting that one corner with your direct selection tool.
So again, we're just kind of implying some sort of dimension. We know that we're going to have some shadow right here. And so if this thing is, let's say, at like a 45-degree angle, kind of like that, we know that we're going to have, because this is the light side and it's kind of northeast area, there's going to be some shadow that's cast from it. So we're just going to go ahead and start drawing some of that.
Yeah, this is cool. So yeah, this is pretty much your strategy, is like take a reference image and it's like a simplified version and kind of taking the basic shapes, what you want, maybe what you don't want,
and sometimes
you make it look so easy, man. You really do.
It's just, I mean, eventually I think for everyone, it just becomes muscle memory, and you start applying, like you get a little more comfortable over time. Like like this line as it exists right here, like doesn't exist on the space station. But I think like rather than just having separate elements, like having a kind of like something that unites it and maybe is like up here too, let's say, I just think visually that could be interesting. So why not give it a go?
Yeah, it is muscle memory for you. I can just see you working at home. You like, you have the TV on, like your laptop. You're just like, bup, 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 bup.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can probably save out, and if you're having problems opening up that Illustrator file, we could probably convert it to an EPS, like I'm doing right now, actually.
Let's see. We gotta get some solar panels up in here. Actually, first there's like a cool circle thing. Usually if I like see like a large block of space that doesn't really have anything like super interesting to it, like over here, it's fine, but like there's nothing too interesting. Like, but if I were to take this like ellipse and put it here and create some sort of like dimensional element that casts like some sort of shadow, I think, oh yeah, well that could be like a cool thing to have. So this is usually where like I'll start sort of playing with like how to add little elements.
Oh, Helen, you're so nice. She says you're like a pianist with Illustrator.
Aww, that's very kind. I was never a great musician. I was in a lot of really bad bands, and unfortunately, I was the lead singer in a lot of them. And oof,
you were?
Yeah, it was not a pretty time.
That's when you learned what you probably shouldn't be doing for a profession.
It's true.
No,
it's true. We played at a lot of kids like birthday parties and like a lot of like what was it, like just like church camps that didn't have any bands to play. It was like, we'll do it, and it was never good. It was never good, unfortunately.
Oh, I love it.
I know my calling in life is not that.
Yeah. Ruchika, you're talking about logo design. Just as an FYI, we're live this week, Tuesday to Thursday, and every week, Tuesday to Thursday. Subject matter changes. I think it's going to be really fun next week, by the way. We have hand lettering. So if you actually select the schedule tab at the top, there you can see we have some amazing live lettering. You can see Jill DeHaan, Stefan Kunz, Becca Klassen, Will Patterson as well. So it's like a bunch of heavy hitters. Super fun to watch. And that's all next week. Week after that is UX and UI. So something different every week. Something for everybody.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's the thing, and I'll watch these and I'll be here for some, but I want to learn everything. So watching you do this, like I want to do this. And then next week, I'm gonna see Jill's work and be like, I want to now do this, and I want this to be my only thing.
I know
Please tell
exactly
me
how that feels.
Okay, good.
Yeah, totally.
Good.
It's like you always look at somebody else's skill set and you're like, oh man, I kind of wish I could do that.
Like I want to be you.
Yeah,
I also want to be you.
Just seems interesting.
So Jeffrey Hansen, just so you know, we did kind of start going weekly after our Adobe Max conference in October last year. But essentially, this is our first year going every single week. And we have amazing illustrators and artists and designers. And audio and video, by the way, as well. So it's super cool. They're not all Justin Mezzells, though.
Well,
you gotta kind of.
I mean, for the better, though.
For the better.
You definitely only want
humbleness.
You definitely only want so much Justin. I live with Justin. I know. You only want so much. So for this, we're kind of thinking: is it like a reflective surface? I don't know. Maybe. To me, it is. That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, I think that'll be interesting. Yeah, so Shanice, there will be some live streams for After Effects video, all that stuff. Nothing set in stone yet, but just... Actually, the best thing to do, what you could do, always check back. You could go to YouTube, Creative Cloud channel, and just subscribe. That's a good place to just kind of see what comes around for us.
So I built this, and I have this like really weird little triangle of a different color, and then it's just like a no-go.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna break my grid rule And I'm gonna move this over just a bit. Make sure we don't have that weird triangle.
Yeah, Mitch, correct. You're in Utah now.
Pardon?
You're in Utah.
I am, yeah. Salt Lake.
So yeah, you could.
I got some winter this year.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Let's see.
Sometimes what we do, I think the fun weeks are when we'll bring in like an illustrator, graphic designer, a video pro, like an illustrator, a graphic designer, and a video pro essentially, and we'll have them work on one like campaign.
Oh yeah.
So you would do the artwork here. You'll hand it.
Nice.
You could hand it to like an After Effects guy.
Uh-huh.
He'll animate it.
That I would love. Every time that I've seen like any of my work animated, it is again one of those like craft things. It's like, dang it, how do I do that? That's so cool.
Your work, actually, you know what? Concerning After Effects and this flat work is pretty hot when it comes to video, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We've had Evan Abrams on before.
Okay.
Your style reminds me of his. He does the video side of what you're doing.
What a treat.
Really,
That's awesome.
really cool. Really cool work. And a heck of a nice guy.
I like that. Nice people. They're great. Mm-hmm. All right. Let me increase this a bit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. There's a German one. Thank you, Tim, for mentioning that. So there is one in German.
Wait, what in German?
There's going to be a live stream in German.
Oh, nice.
I don't know too many details about it. I apologize. Thank you, Adobe Live team. Somebody on the Adobe Live team knows about it.
Mm-hmm.
There's about 43 employees on the Adobe Live team, and one of them is working on the German stuff.
As you can tell, since we've got those limited colors that we're working with, like, you know, you basically, I mean, it's all a system of like moving the color. So it's like, we know we've got a pink. And so when a pink gets a lighter one, it gets the white. And when you have a purple and it gets the lighter one, it gets the pink. Like, it's all just kind of a relationship. And we're getting these little like panels over here.
Yeah, so Alexander, Pathfinder or Shape Builder?
Ooh, yeah. I'm a Pathfinder only because I feel like it was what I started learning with. So it's kind of like how my paradigm of like building is already informed that way.
That's really interesting because I think like since there's multiple ways to do something, depending on when you learned Photoshop or Illustrator, kind of determines what you use.
What about you? What do you do?
I still use Pathfinder.
Yep.
I do, and I think partially that reason is because in say Adobe XD, which is designs and prototypes, has a Pathfinder equivalent as well.
Okay.
So you get used to using it in other apps, and just kind of carries over. Yeah, although the Shape Builder gives you a little bit more control. So if you only wanted like part of an element to combine with the element behind it, you have that control.
We're going to go ahead and duplicate this because we don't want to work on these panes for the entire stream.
How did you change the purple grid to pink? How did you do that?
How did I change the purple grid to pink?
Yeah, like so that the highlight part.
Oh yeah. We're just using Pathfinder on all of those elements right there. So, you know, we selected it.
And so when you look at this, like when you change to outline mode, it's like super clean.
Boom.
Boom.
That's it. That's how it looks.
And that's why you like it. That's also why you like Pathfinder. You don't use a lot of clipping masks.
It's
or anything
super
like
destructive, but
super destructive.
super helpful though, because you know how it looks.
I love it.
I'm just a fan.
When you're confident about your work, you're like, I can confidently work destructively.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Because you know what? There are only happy little mistakes at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know, back when we used to do streaming a lot, I did always have a little Bob Ross who would hang out in all of the streams because it was it's just a reminder. All right, there we go. We got this hanging out here.
All right, let's take these two.
All right, so remember, we are going to
quick command for outlines.
Ooh, quick command for outlines. That is Command Y. And there you can see
Command Y.
how it all works. Super helpful. I'm somebody who does that a lot. When I'm working, I really do like to see how things look in the outline view.
Well, and in Illustrator, back in the day, you could only work in outline mode.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, totally.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah. Like you had to, that's why if you go under, what is it, window, new window? I'm going to just set this up really fast. Ooh, maybe as a treat, I'm going to see if I have Illustrator like 88 or whatever.
Do you really?
Yeah, I'm going to see if I have it.
No kidding. That would be awesome. I'm very interested in that.
You got it. Come on, brain.
I don't know exactly where this is going to sit, so for now, it's going up there until we find a final location for it. Might be closer to the edge, but we're just going to have to see as we go. And then I do want to close this little area.
Yeah, that's why under, what is it? Under window, there's new window. It's because you'd have a preview window open and then an outline mode that you work on. And as you draw here, you'd see it updated in the preview view.
I'm going to give this some exhaustal area here too.
Thank you so much, Adobe Live team. We are running a contest. Select the contest tab. It's all about maps. So, where's this spaceship going? Where is it leaving from? Where do you live? Your exact address.
Nice.
Just kidding, not your exact address. But what's your? Do you have an Behance?
I'm setting up a Behance. I did use it a little while back, and then I think it's like I just had changed my email over time, and then I was like, oh yeah, I need to do a new Behance. Especially it's been a while since I've updated. I'd love to. It's a super active community, which is awesome. All right, so we'll at least close this area for now. There'll be some other things that we'll kind of do because this space is like not super compelling, but it's okay. Keep working our way through it. And what I'm going to do here is like, all right, so we've got kind of this like skyline area as this kind of starts working up, but I do want to do some lines that are a little more compelling than just like the concentric circles as they work their way out. So one way that you can do that if you want, if you are kind of like me and you do want to work on a grid and like kind of have very specific points, you can grab this, start setting up a, this is just my kind of workflow, how I like to do it, because like I said, I do like increments. You know, you can actually, so I'm moving this along the path here, but this is like too much of a dip. So now I'll start moving it up. Let's say kind of like that. Move this over here. So we've got kind of like an edge to this image right here. Looks like right about there. Go ahead and move this over. We'll clip this. It doesn't need to be too perfect at this stage, but let's move it along that point. Then I'll go ahead, create a corner here, like a little soft one. And now you can see we've kind of got this like line as it kind of starts moving its way up right there. And this is the part too where it's like, because we're working with a new composition, I'm not exactly sure how it's all going to set up, but like even as I see this, like there are parts that I like, but also like there's no like really good dark ones. So I might actually like walk it back and then try to see, yeah, like, okay, cool. I like the visual balance of that now as it's kind of happening, but we do have this like additional space that kind of sits there. This is like a really cool area to like kind of start messing with. And, you know, if you want to get a little more freeform and you want to start drawing with, you know, you can just get in here and just sort of start drawing there. Maybe just start banding some color lines to see how it's feeling with that kind of stuff. You know, you can be as perfect as you want with some of that stuff. For me, I do like kind of sticking to the grid and figuring out that. But for now, I don't really know exactly how it's going to look. But I know that like I like this being an anchor piece. So what I'm going to do is another concentric circle. Kind of kicks out a bit. So that we've sort of got this like middle area where we've got that planet. And then I was thinking it would be pretty cool to like start layering stuff. So we've got this like middle area that's kind of working its way out. This is kind of like tucking behind it. And so we'll have a whole lot of like these things that are kind of like layering out as we go. So let's like find another anchor piece that we can start working with. I know I mentioned doing like some sci-fi things. So like we can do like a retro robot kind of looking thing. Maybe make this like just a spacey and yet kind of just science fiction-y piece. This one's got some kind of fun shapes. There's like a super classic looking robot with like that like glass dome kind of look to it. It's like a vintage, maybe it's like a movie one. I don't remember. Yeah, what is that one? What is this one?
What is that? Yeah, I don't know.
Someone who knows. Someone who knows. Who is this from? I feel like it's super cool.
That?
It's got some good shapes.
It is really cool.
Like Bender from Futurama. Yeah, kind of like that. I just feel like, yeah, like it's kind of got this like cool retro futurism kind of thing. So
what is that?
Let's try grabbing it.
Really
Lost in
cool.
Space, is that what it is?
Lost in Space?
Maybe it is. So we can kind of like, what I'm thinking is like, we've got this cool like organic line as it sort of like works its way right there. What if we could like get some cool organic elements and then start doing, because this is such a hard line element. I mean, it's like straight 45, straight, you know, rectangles and whatnot. So now I'm kind of thinking it might be good to have some elements that are a little more fluid in there and a little more organically shaped. You can do this like dome in a number of ways. You know, it's like if you wanted to do a circle and sort of build from there and start kind of like pulling. This is like a way probably that I would do it, even though like you're getting a little more, this one's more bulbous than this one, but at the same time, it still sticks a little closer to the grid that we're working on. And I feel like for me, that's a good thing. I do like a good grid system.
Oh, Robbie the Robot from Forbidden Planet.
Huh? Oh, Forbidden Planet, that's the one.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I dig that.
Thank you, Brandon Fields.
Heck yeah. So we're gonna change it a little bit for sure, but it's a good jumping off point to start kind of building from. So let's see if we've got that, and we'll just kind of do that. So we've got lighting that we're gonna apply. So I just duplicated this shape right here just to show you the difference. We've got one in front of it. We're pulling it right there, and then I'm gonna duplicate it again, and I'll give you another color. And we're just kind of moving it along the path. Because there is some light from above, I'm gonna pull this up a little bit. And then we're gonna use this right here, minus the front. And now we've kind of got like this, like, you know, light as it exists back there. There's a couple different ways that we can handle kind of like the highlights over there. You know, we could do sort of like that, do 45 degree, and then kind of put it like that. That's definitely one way that we could do it. And then if we want to do another one over here.
I like those highlights.
Highlights are cool. And this is kind of like one of those things where it's like, lighting really makes a piece dynamic. So it's like, rather than just using the shapes, the moment you can start applying lighting and sort of like that, like that's where you get some interesting like dimensional riffs, like something that's just flat, that just has the basic shapes. It can be cool, but it's like, I feel like you get more out of something if you were to do some dynamic lighting.
Yeah.
One of the things I like doing, so it's like, I'll grab this shape right here, grab this one, and then I will unite these shapes right here. And then I'll grab this, and then sort of start messing with that. So now we've kind of got like a,
yeah,
a little bit of a thing right there that's kind of like coming through. We're gonna make this a little bit lighter and use this one.
Daniel Newman, you're hilarious.
And then we'll start kind of like making a little face. So this face is like super abstract in that way. I don't know if we're gonna keep it that abstract, but what we can do is like, we kind of have some silhouette elements. You can start like putting some eyes in there.
Oh, fascinating.
And just sort of start making a little face. Let's see. see.
Isn't it Doctor Whom?
Doctor Who?
That's what Daniel Newman says. That cracked me up when I read that.
I feel like the internet really loves Doctor Who, and to be honest, I've never watched Doctor Who.
I never have either.
Yeah, and I know the internet loves it.
Yeah.
Internet, is that something that we should watch? Is it exceptionally great? I think it's always kind of felt campy, which I dig campy in some ways. I think what's always kind of like made me shy away from it is like the effects have always been a little like, oh, so that's interesting.
Doctor Whom. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like right up my alley in terms of like content.
Mm-hmm.
Like I should like it. It's
Right.
sci-fi. I should. Just haven't seen it.
Yeah, I haven't either.
It's all good. Hey, while you work on that, you want to? I was going to show the Illustrator 88.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing? While you're
yes,
just,
I
like,
would really
doing
love to
some-
see that.
Sweet.
Oh my god.
All right, so
You really do.
yeah, file new. All right, let's zoom in on this. Let's just go ahead and kick this off. So initially you actually had to, Illustrator was made to vectorize like a photo. Like you could draw these, you could make something really large because everything was vector. So that's why I asked you to, typically would draw over something. Oh, so I can, obviously like create a circle, no big deal, right? I'm working in artwork only, but what you'd essentially do is you'd open up a new window and position this off to the side. So you'd have two windows open. One you'd draw on and the other one you'd preview on. And also notice, so let me just change this color. So this one will be preview illustration. Oh, what's that? Is that a color? Let's take a look at it. Let's take a look at the style. Like the monitors were only black and white, so you were drawing in potentially in color and you couldn't see the color. So it could be, again, like 100% magenta. I hope that's 100% magenta. That's what
unreal.
you're, oops, sorry. That's what you're working in. Click OK. So that's the 100% of magenta. I'm going to do one more thing real fast though, because this is like if I was trying to like make a flower or something, I can take this. If I hold down the Alt key or Option key, I can rotate it and copy it. So let's do 45 degrees. So let's do copy. And then we'll go Command D to duplicate. But basically I made a quick flower there is what's happening. But this is Illustrator 88. Didn't have color. What it does have, this is going to blow your mind, by the way, as I do this last change. Let's make that black. There's our flower. This is blows my mind because there is actually the blend tool in here. Here's two lines. Sorry, let me just draw something else. Wait for it. Is this it? The blend tool? No. This is it.
Even
But-
sound effects?
Yeah. I was
That's
like,
amazing.
beep. This must be the blend tool right here. No, this is it. See, I don't even get hints for any of this.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's a lot to ask.
It is a lot to ask. Like, I have no idea what this tool is. That's it, though. This has to be the one. I think I have to select both of these. Click here. All right, well, I'll get back to you on that, but essentially, I think this is the blend tool. I just don't know how to use it, nor is there a manual on it. Super
It just
fun.
goes to show we all have humble beginnings.
Yeah.
Live your dreams. Look
Live
at
your
Illustrator started
dreams.
out at. So I can't believe you have that. You just got it hanging out there.
It's good. Yeah, that's my go-to. That's my go-to tool. And then I load it into Illustrator CC. I also have Photoshop 2, I think.
Oh, nice.
But I'm gonna try to figure out the deal with the blend tool. Ooh, got it.
Did you?
It was the right tool. I just don't think I was hitting the... But let's just we'll switch here. This is the blend tool
I
real
do
fast.
really want to see it.
So again, I'm doing this shape to this shape. Number
Yeah.
of steps is what it gives me. Click OK. And then...
It's still there.
But the fact that this is, you know, Illustrator 88, John Warnock, yeah, again, 1988 is when the blend tool was
Unbelievable.
added.
Yeah.
And I'll use it today. It's
Yeah,
like
exactly.
one of the best things ever.
Ooh, yeah. You know what's really cool about Blend Tool that I actually learned, I think it was from one of the streams that I had done at one point, which was if you're ever looking for like a color in the middle of something, like you can take this color and like, you know, take this color and then you grab both of these and then blend. And so like, you know, specify how many steps that you want. Maybe you want like, I don't know,
Like like not many, right?
Let's do 3 maybe. And then you can actually...
Wait, did it do it? Oh, there we go.
There you go. And if you expand it, and now you've got it, and you've got basically like cool colors right there. Isn't that awesome? I love that.
That is cool.
I didn't even know that that was a thing until, because I mean, I've always thought about blend tools doing strokes and you know, like doing that. I never really had considered it to like anchor colors and change that, but I'm down.
You could make the whole color. I've done it before. You could make the color panel, the whole rainbow from dark to light,
Okay.
from the entire rainbow, and you could even sample from it if you want to. But like that just shows the power of the blend tool. And Marley mentioned the same thing, by the way.
Oh, doing that?
She mentioned this
That's
exact
awesome.
same process.
Well, Marley's smart. She knows what she's doing.
Yeah, she's way cool. Shut down Illustrator 8.
Oh, I thought you were still going. That's
Let me eject. I gotta eject these discs.
what a delight.
Yeah. And then you gotta do shut down.
This is why you guys come here. There's some amazing
You
stuff
may
that we're
now
doing.
switch off your Mac safely. Hilarious. Yeah, Dan, so it is 30 minutes. The contest is all about creating a map. I'll kind of check out entries here in a second. See if you're how well your odds are looking. Oh yeah, looking really good right now.
This is a harder one.
This is a harder one.
It takes time. I feel like this was this is why I'm really excited to see some of this stuff, because it's like that's a tricky one right there.
Yes, Alyssa's giving you a compliment. It does look really cool. Because when I first saw you, I'm like, oh, you happen to pick the most complex robot, in my opinion. And I would have been like,
well,
I'm not going to do anything inside. It's just going to be a big egg on top. But you're like, no, I'm doing all the transitions.
It just sounds like interesting to, because okay, yeah, it won't always look exactly like you want it to look, let's say, but like I don't really have like a specific plan of exactly what it's going to look like. I'm like kind of picking and choosing, saying, hey, this shape works, maybe this one doesn't. You know, it's like maybe there's a detail here to do. Like I'm even thinking of like, okay, like this space is a little empty, so like maybe a cool thing to do was draw something between both of these and figure out a color that we want to use. Let's say it's this one. Effect, distort, transform, zigzag, and maybe we create this little, like, I don't know, kind of like an abstract looking lightning kind of thing going on.
You're like, make me sick.
It's
so
just,
cool though.
You just kind of mess with things
fun.
and like start figuring it out.
I like it.
And then, you know, let's make it look like lightning of some sort, or some sort of electrical current. Although I definitely want to increase that a bit more. Where are we? There we go. You can go back into it and you can edit it.
Zigzag's dope.
Yeah, I like it because it's like when you have like those curves, like it kind of breaks up something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Shivam, he's been, if you want to watch the past 2 days, we have those basically recorded or on demand. Honestly, the way you're working now,
it's the same.
It's, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. Essentially, we're grabbing abstracted elements to sort of like build like simple geometry into hopefully something that's a slightly recognizable shape. It really is a very similar approach with all of it, which we're just you know, we're just trying to build some weird stuff.
Yeah, Rebecca's like, I leave for 10 minutes and we have a robot.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, does it kind of make you sick, Rebecca? I want to know. Because I'm like, really? I worked in Illustrator at 88 and made a flower.
That was pretty dope,
You made a robot.
I'm pretty big into that 88 now. Is that going to be like, is there going to be a resurgence of people working in that again? Because honestly, I think I could get on board with that. I think it's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool, but probably not.
You're like, no, it's a hard no.
Do you sketch your ideas on pencil paper?
I don't, but only because, you know, I use like grid points. So I could sketch, obviously like ahead of time, like on a grid notebook or something. But to me, it's like, that seems like planning when like my favorite work is the work, like I'm not really planning exactly how it's going. Like I didn't know what this robot was going to look like. And for me, like working digitally is how I started like kicking those feelings around. And I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah, I guess this works.
All right. Yeah, Dana's like, finally somebody who doesn't sketch. That's awesome.
I'm also like just not a very good hand artist, to be honest. If I could be totally honest with you here. It's just not a skill of mine.
Hey, Kathleen. Come here. No, you're good. Do you want to see what he's working on for like 2 minutes?
I'd love to see.
Oh, yeah, you should check it out.
Oh, cool.
So Kathleen's our host here up in about an hour, but you want to take a seat and watch what he's working on?
I would love to do a giveaway just in time.
Oh, nice.
Good morning, everyone. This is our first time in person.
It is.
This is awesome.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, I mean, glad I made it.
a giveaway happens the moment you sit down. That's such an awesome thing.
I have the power. What's up, Dana? How you doing? All right, so we're going to be doing a giveaway, and I'm sure Paul already told you how this works, but you just need to be active in chat. Yes, host mashup. What's going on, Heidi?
Oh, nice.
Yes, I'll be live with Julia in an hour. So be active in chat. Maybe, what have we asked so far? Maybe we should ask chat a question.
Ooh. Interesting.
Chat, do you like robots or zombies more? Let us know. I'd love to.
There's a right answer.
Is there?
But I want to know what you really think, guys.
I know what I think. George says purples and pinks, so delicious.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, so many robots. Who said zombies? Ivan. Oh, someone else did. Christiane?
I want to honor your choices.
Pancakes?
So that's fine.
Yeah, I think robots for me. Zobart, zombie robot.
Nice. Just your common average zombie robot.
All right, and then we'll work some Adobe magic and get a random winner chosen. I believe the giveaway is going to be some beautiful posters. We have one from Robzilla, Jing Wei, and Christine Heron. They are beautiful, and they are 11 by 17. Oh, here they are. So,
hey.
Yes, be active in chat, and you could be the lucky winner of these 3 amazing posters. Ooh, would you like to announce?
Nice. I actually really would. The winner is, I hope she said robots, Lisa Fernandez Carlson.
Yes.
Come on down.
Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. You only win if you said robots, though. Sorry about that.
That was how it was decided.
That was the caveat. I'm sorry if I didn't make that
We'll let you see how the sausage is made.
Yay, so congratulations. You have won. Be on the lookout in your Behance messages. Lisa, Adobe Live team will message you. Woohoo. So how's it been going today?
I think it's been okay, but I'm kind of partial because it's just me doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, really, chat, how are we doing? Are we doing all right? We doing okay?
Let us know. It is the last day. So
Yeah,
it's
this
like
is it.
Bittersweet feelings. But also like, all right, we've learned what we can learn and we're going to take it into the future.
After this, I return to my cave.
Oh.
And I will hibernate for the next
Until
6
the
months.
next Adobe Live Vector stream. Did I hear that you moved?
I did, yeah. I moved to Salt Lake in August.
Okay, so your cave is in Salt Lake City,
yes,
everyone.
it is. It's a cave with snow finally, though, because I'm from Florida, so
Yeah.
I've been really looking forward to seasons. That's been like a new thing for me.
Right.
I've heard of seasons. I've just never experienced
I
them.
always thought they were a myth.
Yeah, but it's actually pretty cool. And I know a lot of people say I'm in the honeymoon stage of them and that like I'm really going to be over it, but I don't know.
That's
I gotta be
good.
honest. I might be made for this. I really feel a calling.
Yeah, you're like okay with the hibernation factor.
I am.
Awesome. Ooh, Mitch says he lives near me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, Mitch.
Nice. It's snowing in Utah? See, I was promised a lot of snow, and this has been kind of like a not very snowy.
They're like
year.
weaning you into it. It's gonna be all right.
And I feel like I brought some bad Florida like weather.
vibes.
Yeah. And I love Florida, but I think I brought the weather, unfortunately.
All right, we've got Paul Tranny back in the house. I'll let him take over. See you guys in about an hour. Stick around.
Thank you.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you, Kathleen. Did we give away a poster?
We did.
Or some prints?
Yeah. It was awesome. It was real good.
It's good stuff. Good to hear. And your odds are looking fantastic for the contest.
It's a tough one. We know that. We know this is a pretty tough one.
Yeah, and again, you can take a segment of it. Like, I mean, again, have fun with it. We expect you to be creative with the term map, So use a segment of it and just have some fun.
Oh, so that's interesting. Could I make the eyes glow? So that gets a little tricky with like glows, obviously, as we work in flat colors. There are a couple ways that we can do it, and we can kind of try it. What we want to avoid is adding like too much complexity in a given item if it doesn't match. So how we would make the eyes glow for this environment would be we would actually do a lighter variation of color, or at least when I say we, I mean Justin. Like, this is just how I work. It doesn't have to be how you work. It would be kind of like that because we are just using flat colors. There's no gradients or anything like that. That's probably how I approach it. Probably shrink it down a little bit. The other option that we could do if we really wanted to commit to something like that is like maybe if it has, star shape, exactly. Like maybe it's more of like a sunburst. So a good way to do that, like if we make like the star tool here, we can even click right here. And we can decide the number of points that we want to work with. Let's say it's 16. And then let's say the radius is... I always ballpark this at this stage. Like, I'm not really sure how it's going to look. And we can kind of like mess with it kind of like that is another way that you can do it. Now for me, like obviously I've got this like weird clip area right here. That's probably when I would like slightly tilt it. Kind of do away with that. That's another way that we could approach it. It really is just sort of like whatever your decision and your comfort is for kind of building some of these shapes. It's a good way to experiment with it. But yeah, let's see.
All right, Kang has some work to do, but essentially people are asking about the contest. I'd love to get you guys inspired by entries, but your odds are looking really fantastic.
That's true.
Right now.
That's very true.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. I feel like, okay, now that I'm looking at it, maybe we did offset this. Did anybody catch that?
What's that?
Is this like, oh, we are totally like not balanced, I feel like from like here to here. I'm gonna check. I'm gonna double check. Let's see. Wait, let's do it from here. So here's our midpoint. Am I like optically kind of losing my mind here? Let's see. So if this goes to here.
Yeah, after applying the blend tool, if you're using the blend tool, is there an easy way to change the colors? Yeah, just make sure you don't expand the colors.
We're off. We're totally off. Totally off in our symmetry.
I think you would be the only one that would notice that.
I know, but now I know. Now I know, and it's...
That's it. We got to start all over.
Yeah,
New file.
I'm sorry, we're done.
New file. We can't do it. Call it a day.
Dead on arrival.
So you have about, we'll go about 30 minutes, about 25 minutes, then we'll pick a winner. Actually, no, 30 minutes. We'll do 10:40, provided we don't get 50 in the next 10 minutes.
Right now.
I'm also trying to like show you tips that maybe you don't know as an Illustrator
Please
pro.
do. I could use a lot of tips, to be honest. Like,
here's one that I've learned. If we could switch to my screen real fast, since you're talking about the star, which I think it was cool because if you click, you can add those multiple points. And then if you just draw, you have this type of star. If you hold down the Alt key, because look at how this is bent. This isn't a perfect star. Like, if I want to just hold down the Alt key or Option key, this gives you the perfect star. If you ever need just a perfect star,
can you do that again?
The Alt key will do that. So holding down the Alt key. And again, Shift just constrains it, makes it.
I like it.
And by the way, anything you select that you have these points, like, hey, I want to round these, zoop, there we go, stars. Ooh, thank you so much. Jared Valberg submitted a map. So it's good to see.
Awesome maps.
Yeah, you could do a map of where zombies live, or zombies. People are talking about zombies.
Oh, this is a robot
zombies.
room. This is a robot room. It's
Sorry.
definitely a robot room.
Yeah, sorry. This is a robot room now. So, especially since Walking Dead is we're at our mid-season break or whatever.
Oh, are we? I watched it for a while. I watched
Ooh,
it a
thank
while.
you. Great. That's good. If you press up and down, it'll add points. So I'm gonna actually let me try that first. But as you draw. So as you draw, yeah, let's do this real fast. As you draw, I've already drawn this out. I only have so many fingers, but I'm using the up and down arrows and I'm adding and removing points, which is super fancy as well. Because yeah, and then again, there you have your triangle even.
All right, we're getting some dicey areas with how the layout is going to work because now we're actually putting pieces together. Trying to get an idea of sort of like where some of these elements are going to sit, but obviously we got like a large area right here with not a lot of visual interest.
Interesting.
So what we're going to have to do is come up with a way to get some.
Ryan Ford says you sound a little bit like Jack Black. He doesn't mean to offend you.
Oh,
but
that's
like if
actually
Jack Black
I
played you
honor
in the
that.
movie.
I want to say I honor that. I always got what was it on my stream, like a lot of like Jonah Hill. I sound like Jonah Hill, I guess. I mean, I think Jack Black is pretty dang funny. So
yeah,
I like that.
Oh,
I think Jonah Hill's
seriously.
pretty funny too. So
Yeah. Well, and I must say that you enunciate well too. Like, I think you're great for an international audience because you hit all the syllables, and you don't have. I don't feel like you have a regional dialect. Of
yeah,
any sort.
I do. I practice non-regional diction. That's
You?
actually I did
Like,
I did a lot of musical theater growing up. I really did. So I feel like that was always like projection and enunciation and like all that kind of stuff.
It's huge. It's a
Comet.
big thing.
Yes, Comet. Yes. to
You
a comet.
got it. For Brandon Fields.
That can be done.
This would be an awesome LP art cover.
Ah.
Ruchika mentions or is wondering what are the tools to get started if you're just learning out in Illustrator. What I think is great is I think you're actually doing it.
It's like
only-
super basic elements right now.
Yeah, and the only difference is like keep an eye on the shortcuts that you're using in the lower left, but essentially, yeah, use the basic shapes, and then go from there. I think the hardest thing to get a hold of is, or just learn about, is the pen tool. By the way, I think people have the most difficult time with the pen
Oh yeah.
tool.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I created a pen tool guide. I should probably post that.
Oh, nice.
Ah, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a fun game. Ryan mentions this Bezier method, this link.
Uh-huh.
That's a fun little... That's a great reference. Good call. Yeah, the Bezier game. or Bezier. I think you say Bezier.
Bezier? Yeah, I think that's how I say it, but then again, I probably avoid saying it in person because I'm not really sure that I know how to say it.
I always get corrected when I do videos. It's supposed to be Bezier. Bezier.
Okay, so it is Bezier.
It's Bezier.
It was my assumption. I gotta be honest.
So this is the. Let me just show you this real fast because this is super fun. Let's just refresh because I already broke it. But this is the Bezier game. Thank you so much for posting that link. Essentially, kind of take you through sort of how to use it. Pretty simple. It only gets more complex from there as you eventually have to outline like what looks like a Volkswagen. I think a Volkswagen Beetle is what you'll have to. But this is the game. Boom.
I could benefit from this.
See? Zip. Zip. Might be a little... Nailed it. Anyways, you get the idea. Ooh, this is the hardest. This is really interesting. This is always a good challenge you hear people say. It's like, go ahead and can you make a heart using only 2 points?
Using only
A
2
heart
points?
shape. Here it is, right here.
Oh yeah, I'm not skilled enough to do that.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely positive.
The key is unlink control points is what you'd have to do. So essentially, you're gonna have to give me a second, but I'm not gonna do this in front of everybody.
He's like, on second thought, nah. I think that is kind of the cool thing about how you work is you don't need to master everything. You don't need to use every tool in every single way. Like so much of how you illustrate is really finding the tools that you enjoy, that you feel like you can create some really unique things with, and just kind of working with them. I think it's always great to learn new things, obviously, but the idea that you need to be a master of every tool that's ever in a specific piece of software, to me, is just, it's not how I work. But it is good just kind of getting the basics down and kind of learning from there.
Yeah, no, and what's cool about it is it's really all fundamentals. It's all fundamentals. How would you make the border of a we're probably talking the stroke of a rectangle wavy? You use zigzag, so if you want to make a wavy line,
I use that. It does do some tricky things, like if you were to go to distort and transform and you were to zigzag this, where you have these, those points, it's going to do some funkier things. So that is that kind of happens. There are other distorts that you can do, where it's you can do a wavy one. If you go to warp and stuff, you could do flag and all that kind of stuff. So those things do exist if you're looking to do that as well.
Yeah, they're kind of thinking of it outside of a stamp. So yeah, essentially.
Yeah,
I would make two separate. Yeah, I'd make 2 separate lines because only the top and bottom. I actually don't know if all of the sides are wavy. Thank you, Anita, for joining us today. She has to take off. We will be live next week.
Thank you.
But definitely stalk Justin Mezzell online on social media. Julia Zoavo's up next with Kathleen in about 45 minutes. Then Marley and Sarah Bell, who is the map maker.
Nice.
Which would be the cool name for
the map maker.
Yeah.
It sounds like a villain maybe in a C.S. Lewis kind of
you could
Narnia
be
book.
The map maker. And as you make a map, it gets reflected in the real world.
The map maker.
That'd be cool.
Like a Marvel villain.
Yeah. You draw an older map. It's like you travel back in time.
This is you've just built a mechanic.
I think we did.
All right, this is feeling a little strong. I'm gonna hold off on this. The lines are pretty beefy. We're definitely not ready for that yet. It's a little much. There might be a place higher up that we could use something like that, but right now it's not feeling like yet. We've got too many 45-degree angles right now to do that. So what I'm thinking is a good way to maybe break that up is let's do something that's a little bit more of not simple, but at least straight up and down. So I'm thinking let's do a star map. That's what I'm thinking
Cool.
right now.
And by the way, like Justin's just kind of making this up as he goes along.
Yeah, this is unscripted.
Like who does that? This guy.
You get to watch what it's like to flail, and to have no idea how this is all going to turn out. And sometimes the
How come
fact
when
of the
I
matter
fake
is,
it doesn't turn out?
well,
like
I'm just
this?
saying, like sometimes you do make things like especially for like compositional pieces. I'll make things and only use like 50% of the actual items that I built because it's just like, yeah, no, like it just doesn't work. And I think you have to. I think it's Stephen King that was like, you have to kill your darlings. Like it's like be really open to like something that you've built, something you put time into, and just saying like, yeah, it's not it. It's close. I can get something from it. I can like scrap it for parts and maybe build something else with it. But like for this, it's just not it. And I am more than happy to be your guinea pig and your proof that it happens fairly often to me.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you get kind of bummed out when you do end up throwing away something. But I've found that like you always end up kind of taking a piece of that. You're like maybe you learn something from it, or it reemerges later. Because you're like, oh yeah, I did that one time, even though I threw it away, I can use it now, or I've learned something from it.
Yeah, all of like creating something, like it does inform other things. So it's like when life got really busy, like I found myself actually having to schedule time to create things or to design for fun. That was like a really new thing for me that I hadn't really done, because in my head, the romanticized version of inspiration, as I told myself, was, you only create when you're inspired. And then when you get inspired, you like build something amazing. And that's just kind of how it always works. But I think like at the time, the reality of my life was just like, it didn't work that way. Like I had to say on Thursday night, I'm taking some time to illustrate some things. And that's just like, even if it doesn't work. And I would say like, I didn't always create something good. But I was able to walk away with like, hey, I learned how to do that way. And later when I was building another element, maybe that had used something that I'd done before, that contributed overall to like, I know how to do this. I've built something like this before. Maybe it didn't work out the way that I wanted, but I feel confident enough that I could do it from here. It all contributes to like a larger whole.
Yeah. And the tricky thing is like not get discouraged, I guess. You know, you can go from point A to point B, even, to a low point without lose your enthusiasm is the hard part.
And you're not done making bad work. We all make work that like I don't care how long someone's been designing or like how much of a quote unquote tastemaker they are. I think we all have the ability to make like work that's just like isn't our best, and that's totally fine. Like you can't be afraid of that.
Yeah. Yeah, this is your star map.
It's my little star map. It's got a little fold in there.
Yeah, you can follow Justin Mezzell, his full name, on Instagram and Twitter. Is that right? On Instagram, it's the same?
Yeah, I try to keep it pretty simple. I try to keep it pretty easy going.
Just like me.
Yeah. I like my name enough.
Although there's another Paul Tranny that has Instagram at Paul Tranny.
Oh, really?
And I will buy it from him. He's like, no, thanks.
Yeah.
He's like, no, and he doesn't hardly use it. He's like, nah.
That's a bummer. That's a real bummer.
It annoys me.
Yeah, it should. Sorry to bring it back up.
It's okay. I'm like, I'll buy it from you. Name your price between $50 and $100.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like how you work, because I think you get really good results for the time you spend on this. I'm just
Thanks. Sometimes I do.
Yeah. Well, and it's good to hear that it hasn't always been in this way.
Yeah.
So.
Sometimes I do. And some sessions just like work better than others. Like it's like you're just like building something and you're like, today, like all that I wanted to do, like I did it and it kind of worked. And then some days it's just like nothing really worked. And that's just the reality of it. At least for me. I mean, it's not the reality for everyone, but I feel like for me that is.
Oh, and can I tell them something else about you that's probably going to make everybody sick as well?
Make them sick?
Yeah.
Are they sick of me? All right, yeah.
Yeah. Because, like, this is just kind of what you do in your spare time. This isn't even, like, your full-time job.
Yeah.
Like,
I mostly, do UI and UX. But, you know, I did do illustration for a number of years. It's just not what I actively do. But, yeah, I really enjoy it.
No, that's cool. Yeah, check out his work on Instagram and Twitter as well. Yeah, right, Lisa? Everybody's all upset.
Man,
You do UX or UI. You don't even do this for like, you just like do something else during the day. This is like your evening
I
free
find
fun.
it's really good to have things that like are really like good for your soul. And I feel like illustration for me is kind of that. It's just like it feels good to do. And I did it for a number of years, and honestly, like I found myself enjoying doing it, but I also found myself like not always loving the day in and out of just doing illustration. And so I don't know, like you just kind of figure out for yourself, like what do you enjoy doing? How much do you want to do that thing? Yeah, and that's life.
Yeah. And you're at Pluralsight.
At Pluralsight, it's rad.
Sweet.
It's in Salt Lake. I dig it. Work with amazing people who are much smarter than I am.
Oh, maybe this will make everybody feel better that he's horrible at UX and UI.
Yeah, I'm also just really bad at my day job.
He's
so
really bad at his
this is my respite.
I'm
I'm saying that through like gritted teeth, like, oh god, wait. Yeah, well, believe your dreams.
Oh, thank you so much, Dan. Exported something for the contest. Good to hear. Getting some trickling in.
This might all be dark. Technically, yeah, that would actually would.
Oh, that's cool. That's a great idea. Oh, I love it.
Do I get to look yet, or no? This is a no-look situation?
Yeah, not yet, my friend.
All right.
Let me get him loaded up.
So this is another one where we make an artistic decision, and when I say artistic, you know, use that with air quotes for me. Basically, we had to decide. So we've got this like crease that runs right here. Now, what we could do is we could warp this edge right here and kind of have it like dip a little bit so that it's you know, it's kind of like reflective of that. But to me, that would add a whole lot of visual interest on there, and it might be a little bit too much, especially because these shapes are already pretty like there's a lot going on. And right now, we're about to do like a star map. And so it feels like if I go that route, that's going to be a little bit too much. And what is my grid spacing set at? That's a good question. Just to show guides and grid, we're doing grid line every 80 and 10 subdivisions.
Very cool. Which you've been toggling on and off.
Mm-hmm. I press a lot of buttons. That's my workflow.
Oh yeah, and actually, yeah, before long you can always try the recolor artwork.
Ooh yeah, that's good. We do want to do that today. We got to test some things.
We have about 30 minutes left.
Oh my goodness, how does time go by so fast?
Yeah, so Equipoise designers. Yeah, so yeah, I would love to see this printed.
Well,
just because it's so bold, like you can do some fun things with it.
Yeah, we
and
definitely
I like
have
the
to
idea of
do some
shifting the
hand-tone.
colors. So like, what if the pinks, like a gold, like a silver foil or gold foil or who knows what?
Haha, now you're speaking my language. I like that.
Yeah, but the color palette, you're right, exactly right. The color palette is happy and pretty, like pretty trendy, pretty happening right now.
You would say trendy?
I don't mean trendy. It's
kidding.
pretty happening right
kidding.
now.
Yeah, I do want to say I love purple. I think purple is such a cool color.
I think purple's cool.
Yeah, I've always been a fan.
I like purple, but I also like pink. I like the whole pink color. It's awesome right now.
need some little smaller stars in the background.
Yeah, Dan, thank you so much for submitting. Again, we're just looking for submissions. At the end of the day, we just want you to kind of try things and not be intimidated by Illustrator or really any of the tools, and really just be inspired by Justin.
As I'm inspired by you.
Oh, there we go. Nice.
That's true. I'm learning things.
Yeah, this is good. You're learning things about Illustrator 88.
That I am. That was exceptional.
Yeah,
I really appreciated that. I gotta
That's
be
kind of
honest.
cool.
Ah,
So yeah, you're right, Micah. Yeah, ultraviolet being the color of the year. It's a good call. We mentioned that the other day.
I'm in for it. I think it's a great choice. I don't know. What does it take to be color of the year?
You got a petition. It's a lot of
Oh, yeah?
shaking hands, kissing babies.
Is there like a color prophet who like kind of picks it and designates it?
There is a color, Pantone, some executive at Pantone. But I just like the idea of having these colors going around, kind of petitioning to be the color of the
I
year.
do too. I really
You know?
appreciate that. I think that's if that's not how it works, then I don't even care anymore.
All right, let's check this. Cool, getting some entries in. Thank you, Dan.
You know, we kind of have to use white there.
Oh, thank you, Jeffrey, as well, has submitted work before in the past.
I looked on accident. I'm sorry. Turn it around.
Yeah, you're good. I can show these at any time. All right. We can kind of click through some of these while you're working.
I would love that. Let's do it.
All right. We'll start out with Jared Valberg's Fantastic.
I like that.
Use the map. Not sure how he distorted it, but you could actually turn it into a symbol and then wrap it on a sphere. That would be the texture. Next up, we have Chandler Polkov, which Chandler has won before, I think. Or he might have won a poster or something. Chandler, are you right up here? Sort of in,
Pacific
Oregon?
Northwest? Yeah.
I like how you just said the Pacific Northwest.
It's a general, again, yeah, that's right. I don't know states. We know this.
PNW.
Yeah.
And this is where the aliens live. All right, next up we
Is it
have Mohan. This should be Mohan's.
Oh, that's rad. Getting into some like data viz right there.
Yes, very cool. World population color code 2000. Oh, this might be real scientific data. I like it. 3D shapes, diagram, shadows, all the good stuff. And should be Dan's. Dan's like, whoa, it's not my best work. Dan, we just
all
love
the places
you
you've been? Because that's a lot of places.
This is where he is right now. He is everywhere.
Nice.
Because he's on the interwebs.
I like it. Omnipresent.
I like how he's clear over here too. Was that Hawaii?
Planet up there.
Ooh, a little planet up here. So you're kind of following along. Very cool.
Both of our moons.
Yeah.
Just like Tatooine.
Oh, some points are based on people from chat. Others have been randomly placed. Very cool to see.
Look at that. That's a communal one.
I like it. Good thinking. And yes, this should be Jeffrey's. Fulgencio. 601 tells. How does he know we're here? How does he?
What?
He has our address. I see his face pressed up against the window, and we're on the second floor. How does he do that? There he is. Just go straight. It's like perfect UX UI, so like a map view, which will be great in 2 weeks. So very cool. Well, you can maybe walk there. Totally cool. So yeah. Comments, all that stuff. It's always good to have for these as well. But thank you so much for, diving in. In fact, you have some nice gradients in here. So that's very cool.
Right on.
So.
I am self-taught. I didn't do college. I think I did like everything but this in college. So,
Okay.
You find your way at your own pace. And that's just kind of how it is. And the internet is full of amazing resources where you can learn all of this, like today.
Oh, okay. So this is based off of the artists that are working today.
Oh, is that where Salt Lake is? I don't know.
Yes. Yeah, basically, sure.
Yeah, again, you could put it anywhere on the map, and I probably couldn't tell you if it's right. I don't.
Yeah. Let's see. Marley and Julia. And where's Sarah from? Sarah Bell? Is she Florida? Washington. Oh, so
Great
she's
place.
up here. Oh, and she's the map icon.
Yeah.
Oh, clever.
Yeah. Well done.
Well
done.
Well played, my friend.
All right. Oh, let's see. We need to change. Get some different colors over here. So basically, as we're working on this, I'm noticing like, I don't know, we need some more dynamic color breaks in this environment. So we've kind of got the clouds, which is one of the motifs that we've sort of worked with. We can definitely use that to do some things. I'm trying not to use any white specifically on the border, only because, you know, when you use white, it really kind of harshes the mellow of the actual bordering of the image itself. So we're trying to figure out a good way to do that. We could do purple right there. Obviously we lose a little bit, but this is kind of where you're making decisions to say, but are we really losing a whole lot? I don't think we are.
And I like hidden lines.
Exactly.
You know, as long as you can kind of connect the two, I love hidden lines.
Go ahead and just for our own eyesight. A lot of times that won't export out, but for our own, yeah. And that's a good point. It's like the optical thing where it's like if you draw a shape and you leave a piece out, your brain like finishes out the line work. And so like that's kind of what we're using right here is like, you know, your brain knows this is probably going to be generally the same shape as this one right here. Yeah. So we'll do that one.
Yeah, Dana, can you visit the Adobe Live Studio? If you can get past the Gusbot 6000, just kidding. Yeah, we'd have to talk about that. We've had like, you know, visitors kind of drop in before, which is kind of fun. Right now we're in like a makeshift space, so it's kind of
cool.
up for like debate. But I love the idea of actually having the studio and having places where people can come in and sit and kind of watch.
Just people watching behind
Like
a one-way mirror while I design something like this.
This should be downstairs in the lobby. Like the lobby's on the other side of the glass. Like people literally walk in, don't need to badge in, they can just watch. That's what I'd love to see. So.
Let's get some lines.
Yeah, so Pathfinder, if you go to Window, under Window menu, you'll find Pathfinder. So, very cool. Julia Zuavo just walked in.
Hello.
She's looking fantastic with her cool scarf, and she's going to be up next in about 20 minutes. What's the best way to get your work noticed?
Oh, the best way to get your work noticed is probably just to like, at least starting out, like kind of mess around with a lot of styles, put out a decent amount of work. I think for myself, when I was just starting in design, I didn't do it for college. Like I didn't really know anybody in the community. So I just started putting work out there in various communities, whether it's Behance or Dribbble, even on Twitter. And I met some just like-minded folks who were also creating stuff. And it just, I mean, it took time. Like, you know, I think part of putting out work is, you know, it's really difficult at times to kind of like put yourself out there and to take time and to build something that takes you a lot. And then maybe it doesn't necessarily get like the recognition you think it deserves right off the bat. And I think it's a totally fair sentiment. But I think like part of it really is just the tenacity to like keep working, keep putting out stuff, even if it's not yet getting the traction that you think it should get. And it doesn't necessarily mean like it will get the traction. Like we're not really promised that in any way, but I do think like you will find appreciation like in some really cool places. And like I had this like illustration blog that I ran myself of like, I would do like infographics, I really like science and I really like space. And honestly, like I think I had like 2 followers for like 2 years. Nothing ever came of it. I still kept at it for a little while. And then like, it like was like 3 years later, I got hired on a project because a company found that old blog that I hadn't updated in a long time and hired me based on that. Like, we want you to do that for us. And so that kind of stuff happens. It just sometimes takes time.
Yeah.
And I do pixel art every now and then. I like it.
Yeah. And you know, and it's okay. I mean, I think it's nice to work in, I don't know if you want to call it obscurity, but without having any eyes on you. It's like there's no expectation.
Yeah.
But once you get big, like everybody's watching you, there's a certain amount of pressure. It's like, hey, fun. You get to work, you know, at your own pace, doing your own thing. So enjoy that
Whatever you
time.
want.
Oh, Alyssa, yes, Behance is much better than Dribble.
What up, Behance?
That's nice of you to say, but you know,
It's honestly there's communities.
we love Dribble too.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. We love everyone.
And you can post in different places too. So it's like
Yeah.
give it all a try. You know, it's like they're all super valuable. Like communities really are such an awesome thing, and they are what you make of them. So, you know, give it a go.
Do you update Instagram the most, or what do you update?
I probably update Instagram the most only because it's like such a lightweight interaction. Like it's like I can just put up an image. There's not like anything contextual I really need to give too much with it. It's just kind of like, you know, lightweight. But even that, I'm probably currently not the best at updating anything, probably, aside from like, you know, talking on Twitter. It's probably the thing that I'm like best at right now in terms of updating.
I love how you're doing this too. You're just rounding these.
Yeah,
these
just trying it out.
corners.
Seeing how it's looking.
I just love it because, like, really, I've seen you use the pen tool just for some straight lines. I haven't seen you draw any curve with the pen tool.
I don't, because I'm just really bad at it. You know, it's like you do what you're comfortable with, and so for me, like the way my brain works right here is like I can think so much better in understanding. I can plot this point. That's going to give me a little difference. Like, and then I can kind of like round it all out. Whereas, like, you know, you look at like especially like I could see typographers use like Bezier curves to create type and all that stuff, and it like blows my mind that they just get it. They just see something, and I know it's the result of a lot of hard work and understanding how our tooling works, understanding how to process that kind of stuff. But I just haven't, you know, I haven't really put the time in to do something like that.
But I do like how you're doing this, using straight lines and then just curving the corners. Still gives it a sort of more exact mathematic look with your style. So.
Yeah.
You know, yes, Philip, Justin is the boss. We'll go ahead and take a look at, actually give me 1 second. Actually, we got, okay, cool. Let's take a look at 2 more submitted. Again, the contest is all about creating your own unique map. So, as part of this, right over here, contest, zip.
Hey.
There's the daily challenge. Contest, map, download this file, submit through this link here. And let's take a look at Laura Triana.
Nice.
From Colombia, but I love, again, you can just...
It's educational.
Yeah, this is super educational. Like, oh, that's what their flag is like. So very cool. She actually filled in all the South America countries with their specific flag, which probably got to be more work than initially intended, because there's a lot more countries down there than you think. Paraguay, Uruguay, Argentina. She's from Bogota, which is about right there. So thank you, Laura. I love it. Next we have Jesse Robinson. This is cool. Jesse must really like fishing. Fishing is life. Minnesota, nice. Specifically at Millie Lax Lake, which is cool. I'm sure the Gus bot appreciates this one, right? A little fishing action. I dig it. So thank you so much. Get your entries in right now, because we're pretty much calling it in 1 minute.
Oh boy.
Laura also is a percussionist. She's a drummer, I think. I saw on Instagram. Yeah, I stalked you. I know you did. You're a musician as well.
I'm not a musician. I am a great many things. Some of them not very good, but I'm certainly not a musician. This is not what I'd call myself.
Well, I just said music. I didn't say good one.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point.
Ouch.
No. I mean, you gotta, you know, part of life is recognizing those things that are worth pursuing for you, and those things that just aren't going to be your jam, pun intended. And music is that thing for me. I wish it was. I do.
Yeah, right?
I really do.
Like, I was born to just appreciate music, not play it or do it. I'm just going to appreciate it.
I just think about that with like I know so many people that had like, you know, piano lessons growing up, and you know, you kind of like revolt against it, I guess, while you're getting. I never had them, but like, now that I have kids, I'm like, I really want them to do lessons, and I have a feeling that they're not going to like it, but maybe one day they'll really appreciate why.
Yeah, man. Yes, Jared, there's a zigzag tool, and you've been playing with some of the settings to make the zigzag more like wavy lines.
We just drew a line. We went to Effect, Distort and Transform. We did a zigzag. And right here you got your controls. You can preview it as you go. We're using the smooth points, and then you can just kind of mess around, start doing it. The reason why I did it like this is so I'm going to grab these. I'm going to select here. And then just going to go ahead and do a little Pathfinder action right there. That's what we're doing here.
Very cool. We're like, 8 minutes out.
Oh, you're right.
I'm just gonna give these another day in the sun. We'll have you pick, but we'll just click through these. Thank you, Jared Valberg. Kind of taking off of Justin's style, includes the map.
Dig it.
Great as a complete piece. Next up, Chandler Polikov is how you say it. So basically, all of our guests this week are mapped on the map here. So yes, very cool. Julia is right over here. Got your little illustration. You're on this little map. You made the map. People know where you live now. I don't know how they found it out. They might be knocking on your door. Mohan, world population, graph, drop shadows, places. Very cool. Dan mapped out the different people that are actually represented in chat. You can see we have quite an international audience. I don't know how he knows where everybody lives, but it freaks me out. Jeffrey Fulgencio. This is very much like a UI experience for a map. 601 Townsend, which is where we roughly happen to be. And looks like we're about 5 hours away from him. And Laura Triana's South America map. Great job doing all that research. Lastly, fishing is life. And this is from Jesse Robinson. So cool. All right. I'm going to have you pick the one you like.
All right.
Whenever you're ready.
Let's do it.
So just kind of a quick refresher. Let's actually go back here. Jesse's. This is Laura's, which is really cool, doing that research. Nice UX, UI, as you know, doing in that business. Dan mapped out everybody in chat, which is cool. Added some drop shadow, very cool. And had to recolor everything. World population, again, works as a consistent piece.
Yeah.
I like the specifics of this. I think he put some thought into it. And this is Jared's.
All right. I think I'm gonna go with the one that actually had the maps in the country. Which one was that?
Oh, that was Laura's.
Yeah, Laura, like that feels educational to me, and somebody who doesn't know geography, I feel like I would actually check out a map like that and actually really dig it.
Yeah. I think so too. I think
it feels really rad.
Feels really good. I like how she actually included the whole map too. This is just artistically, it's just cool. Looking down there and seeing.
I dig it. Laura,
all right, Laura, you win one of your Creative Cloud. What? Congratulations to you. Laura's pretty consistent with us, so I'm super happy that she won.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's awesome. And she's the drummer.
Oh yeah, nice. I'm in. That is awesome.
Great job, Laura. Very cool. Yeah, man, What are you gonna do with this?
I don't know.
When you're done, I don't know.
It just kind of exists.
You gonna post this to Instagram at least?
Yeah, we'll do that. It just exists now, and you know, I feel like it was done with the help of you folks. So I really appreciate it. It's been super fun
And a lot of love.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Thank you.
Very cool.
Justin does not love to sing.
Did you want to recolor it or punch it up or change it, or like?
If
you don't
we have
have
the, do we have the time? Because if we have the time,
easy.
all right, let's
Just
do it.
Select it and then go to Edit. Go down to Edit Colors.
Edit colors. Recolor artwork.
There's your colors.
Oh,
and
awesome!
You can just remap to your heart's content. I was using the Edit button, and that gives you the color wheel.
Oh, sweet!
And you could lock it down if you hit the lock. There you go.
Oh, in the shape that it's in?
Yeah, I know, kind of. Then you can kind of tweak it.
Oh, this is so neat. Oh, my goodness. Okay, come on. This is awesome.
Yeah. Oh, wow. See, that's fun.
That one.
That's pretty cool.
That's the one.
Looks pretty cool.
That's so cool.
You know, that makes it look like even more like retro, maybe?
Yeah, I know. That's kind of what I'm digging about it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Super fun, and yeah.
Oh, wow.
Under
Edit colors.
Recolor artwork.
Okay.
And then
this is...
Yeah.
Okay, so this, like, I can actually... Yeah, look at that.
You can tweak it, and then...
Oh, I can even use these.
Hit the... Yeah. Yeah, you're used to hue, saturation, brightness. Yeah, that works.
Wow, this is super fun. I don't really do coloring all that much in Illustrator until now.
Yeah.
This is pretty dope.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. And then click. Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, there's basically a lot in there. You can spend a lot of time in there. It's pretty sweet.
Just
dope.
Awesome. Just awesome.
Justin Mezzell, everybody. What a
thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you for having me and letting me like awkwardly build things that sometimes work and sometimes don't. I really, really appreciate it.
We're not quite done yet, though. We still have a couple minutes.
Oh, good.
It's like we already
good. That's awesome. All right, can I fill the space real fast?
4 minutes. Good. Work it.
It's
kind of like you say. You ever say goodbye to somebody and then
and you walk the same direction,
and then you walk the same direction.
Okay.
That's what just happened.
Yeah, it definitely did. I really thought that we were done. I'm really glad to hear that we're not. Obviously, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, honestly, like, you know, we run the gamut with the guests that we have in, and I must say that I'm sure Kathleen can agree with me and Gus and everyone that you guys are awesome. Like, it's really cool having, I don't know, just something about illustrators. Like, I have a good time with illustrators and you guys.
Yeah, we're
like,
a good breed.
You guys are a friendly bunch, sensitive. No, I don't know.
we have no...
you don't have an ego.
Well, yeah, I feel like
Maybe
it's one of those situations where it's like you kind of like... Maybe it's just because I've built so many things that have failed. Like there's like not a sense of like I'm so good at like what I do that I'm a tastemaker. No. Like it's like I don't know. Sometimes my taste is okay. Sometimes my taste is pretty off, and like sometimes I make something that I'm super excited about, and sometimes I draw a face and I'm like that looks like a rock. So it is so I don't know. Like it's humbling to do art. It really is.
What's the thing that's inspired you the most this week? Maybe even watching maybe some of the other.
I think it's like I really appreciate. I was thinking about community right here of just saying like I really appreciate people that ask questions that like go out on a limb to try and learn something even though they don't know something yet. You know, they're willing to voice up and say, hey, I didn't catch that. Could you show me that? Because I really think like the ability to ask questions, the ability to like ask somebody to mentor you or to reach out to someone, like those are things that define like how fast you level up in a given art form. Like it's like your willingness to do that is such an awesome and powerful thing. And it's like, you know, maybe that does make it, you know, humbling yourself to kind of just like, I don't know how to do it and I would love to learn how to do it. And I'd say like send people emails. Like if there's somebody that does amazing work that you want to learn from, like just send them an email. What's the worst that could happen? They don't respond. Like, okay, that's it. You're gonna be all right.
And even the next level there is people who submit artwork as well. It's like, hey, I'm gonna go out on a limb,
put it
submit some
out.
stuff. So thank you so much. We've gotten so many entries. The past 3 days have been amazing. Like the avatars of you yesterday and everything has been fantastic. So keep them coming.
You.
Thank you, Michelle. Actually, stick around definitely for sure. Julia Zawavo's up next with Kathleen. It's
You don't
going to be
wanna miss
super
it.
fun.
It's gonna be awesome.
Hang out with us. Chance to win. Thank you, Justin.
Hey, thank you. Thank
Yay.
you. What a success. Huge success.
Success. Stay with us.